watching Capital Connection from the Illinois State Capitol.
The city of Springfield, our state's capital, is famously home to Abraham Lincoln. It's also the city that launched the political career of President Barack Obama, our nation's first African-American president. And it's where the NAACP got its start more than 100 years ago. Yet somehow this city remains deeply segregated and divided, quite literally, on economic and racial lines. Late last week, State Senator Manar made the case that this new capital infrastructure bill could contain one fix, one way to break down at least one of the literal physical barriers that divides white families from black families in the state's capital city.
In this place where our greatest president walked, in the place where a century ago a race riot established generations of divisions in this city and set into motion the founding of the NAACP, divisions that are still very real today, we are healing that divide with this bill. This legislation recognizes that Springfield is one city, not two, and it recognizes that we are one state, and we are better off when we work together.
That was State Senator Manar on Friday unveiling the Capitol bill. He joins us now here on Capital Connection. Good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
It sounded like in your remarks there, and we played just a portion of them, that you were driving at the history of the railways and how they've really been an instrument of segregation in Springfield, chopping up neighborhoods. What is that history in your view? This is part of your district.
Yeah.
And why is this the fix?
Yeah, well, you know, I came about this issue shortly after being elected in 2012, and I represent downtown Springfield East. And it didn't get past me on Friday that the strength of rail consolidation in Springfield has economic pluses, it has immediate benefits, long-term benefits, but one thing that I think largely has gone unsaid is that the community benefit agreement that was struck between leaders in the African-American community and local governments and state government and the Federal Rail Administration that frankly was led by Senator Durbin's office was the key to getting this done. And, you know, given the history, given not just the race riot, but the founding of the NAACP shortly after that, and even as recent as a few weeks ago, Mark, in Governing Magazine, that talked about segregation in Springfield.
The worst economic segregation of any major American city in the country.
Yeah, and that's in large part because of the geographic divisions that rail line has caused over the decades. And it's my hope that because we were able to get this major project in the Capitol bill, supported by Governor Pritzker, that we can heal some of these wounds that are still very much prevalent today.
Is there any progress to make in the classroom on this issue? We saw I imagine you may have watched some of the first round of Democratic presidential primary debates, and the issue of busing and segregation came up. It's really an ugly part of American history, but it's something that has persisted even in parts of rural America, I imagine. Is there any progress that can be made there?
Yeah, I think the good news in Illinois is that we're leading that conversation in the country. Let me say it again. Illinois is leading this conversation in the country because we changed our law. We've talked about this on this program many times. We have a progressive school funding model now, and I would say District 186 in Springfield is implementing that exactly how it was designed. But we have greater issues that deal with, you know, for example, the growth around the city of Springfield that's driving tax revenue is not happening within District 186. It's within the city of Springfield, but it's benefiting outlying school districts. So that's an embedded challenge that we have. But when it comes to state resources, we are clearly leading this conversation in the right way today across the country.
Senator Durbin said something interesting at the start of that press conference last Friday, signing the Capitol bill. He said there's two things we know that are tried and true throughout history that government can do well, and that's investing in infrastructure and investing in education. Mm-hmm. And he highlighted those two things there. But then comes the price tag.
Yeah.
And that's in the form of property taxes for education usually, and gas taxes by and large, or a myriad of other taxes as well. But the gas tax was one people have focused on a lot for paying for these roads and bridges. What was the reasoning behind tying it to inflation?
Well, if you rewind the clock to the last time motor fuel taxes were raised in the state of Illinois, which I believe was 1990, I think implemented in 1991, if that level of taxation just kept pace with inflation, we would be exactly where we are today following Governor Pritzker's signing of that bipartisan bill. I want to remind everyone that bill got, I believe, 48 votes in the Senate out of 59. And
it's very bipartisan.
Very bipartisan. It was crafted that way. So that's the nature, is we don't want to be in this situation ever again where there's a famine when it comes to the result of having a road network, let's take roads, in the state that's in the condition that it's in today. We were never going to be in that position again after this bill. It's a tough vote. I don't discount for a second that is a difficult choice to make, but I think it's indicative. The fact that it was so bipartisan is indicative of the need and how well it was put together.
You mentioned tough votes. I think this is our first time having you on since the end of session. A lot happened there. You were one of, maybe the only or one of very few Democrats in the Senate who did not vote for the Reproductive Health Act. Why not?
Well, I was given, on multiple occasions, I was given assurances by the sponsors of the bill that the bill was not going to be called. After it was introduced, by the way, the final bill was very different than the bill that was introduced, I believe, in the House first. And
what
then,
changed?
Multiple things in the bill changed. But I was given assurances that it wasn't going to be called for a vote. I had given those assurances to well over, I think it was 1,200 constituents that had called my office or emailed me or had somehow contacted me, both proponents and opponents. I had passed those assurances along to constituents. I gave them my word that I would meet with them, better understand their position before formulating a final opinion. So that's the reason I voted no. I gave those assurances to constituents I represent. That matters. I think it matters that I follow up on those things, and that's why I chose to vote no.
It sounds like you might be insinuating at least that you were undecided or had not yet formulated a full opinion. Where are you on that issue of a woman's right to choose?
Yeah, no, my record's clear on this. I'm pro-choice. I support women's reproductive rights. I think what's happening in other states right now in the country, it should be of concern to everyone, regardless of where they live. But at the end of the day, in this role as a public official, when I give assurances, even to people that I disagree with, even to people that I just have core disagreements on just issues, let alone controversial ones, like abortion and access to abortion services. When I give my word to people, I keep my word, even when I disagree with them.
There is a 2020 race around the corner, and this is the 13th congressional district here. And I believe you're supporting Betsy Dirksen-Londrigan, the Democrat, in her challenge to Congressman Rodney Davis. What do you see as the issues most important to the people of this district in that race? Understand that you're likely a surrogate or someone endorsing her already at this early point. But what are the issues that you think this district wants to see Congress deliver for them?
Yeah, healthcare reform. I think that's number one. Job creation is a close second. But healthcare reform is an issue that is not going to go away anytime soon. And I think the lack of action, especially over the past 4 years, and obviously a divided Congress today, is only perpetuating the control, what I think is vertical integrated control between pharmaceutical companies, pharmacy benefit managers, and insurance companies to drive up prices and to literally squeeze the money right out of the pocketbooks of middle class and working families right here in central Illinois. Very different positions from Congressman Davis and the candidate that I support, Betsy Dirksen-Londrigan, and I look forward to that debate as part of this campaign.
We're back in just a minute with a closer look at how the state is grappling with what we saw an outbreak earlier in the spring of some measles and some issues that folks are trying to deal with on a public health scale. We're back in a moment.